South Africa and the world are in absolute shock as the Paris High Court has officially sentenced the man responsible for the murder of Nathi Mthethwa to 30 years in prison. The long-awaited verdict has sent ripples across political and diplomatic circles, reopening painful wounds and exposing the dark underbelly of political corruption that many tried to bury. After months of secrecy, international investigations, and denials from high-ranking officials, the truth has finally surfaced, and it is far more disturbing than anyone expected. What unfolded inside that Paris courtroom not only brought justice from but also revealed the names of powerful individuals within the ANC allegedly linked to the assassination plot. Stay tuned because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this sentencing is more than just a legal victory. It's a political earthquake shaking the foundations of South Africa's ruling elite. The courtroom was silent as the judge delivered the final sentence, 30 years imprisonment for the man identified as the assassin behind the brutal murder of former Minister Nathi. The convicted man, whose identity had been concealed for security reasons, sat expressionless as the verdict was read. But what caught everyone off guard was not the sentencing itself, but the evidence revealed during the trial. Interpol, working closely with Paris police, had uncovered a sophisticated web of offshore accounts, hidden contracts, and encrypted communications. These weren't the actions of a lone criminal. They were part of a larger conspiracy involving people who had access to power, money, and state protection. The judge described the crime as a politically motivated act orchestrated with precision and intent to silence. Those words echoed across international headlines, instantly igniting chaos in South Africa. During the final days of the trial, prosecutors dropped a bombshell. They presented financial records directly linking the assassin's payment to companies connected with high-profile ANC associates. These weren't random names. According to insiders familiar with the court proceedings, several of the shell companies used to fund the operation were previously tied to government tenders and multi-million rand contracts. One witness testified that the killer had received orders from individuals in South Africa's political sphere, but the full transcript remains sealed for now. Still, that single statement was enough to trigger panic among ANC leaders back home. As one French investigator bluntly told reporters, this wasn't just murder. It was a message, and we finally found who sent it. The reaction within the ANC was immediate and explosive. Panic, denial, and finger-pointing filled the corridors of power in Pretoria as the sentencing news broke. Sources close to Parliament say an emergency meeting was convened just hours after the verdict. Some members reportedly demanded an internal review while others urged silence to prevent further political embarrassment. For years, rumors had circulated that Nathi Mthethwa's death was connected to internal ANC disputes involving corruption, loyalty shifts, and secret deals gone wrong. Now, with international evidence supporting those theories, the ruling party finds itself cornered. A senior insider allegedly told local journalists, if the Paris documents are released publicly, the entire party could implode. There are names there we can't afford to have exposed. President Cyril Ramaphosa, already battling criticism for corruption scandals and accusations of misuse state funds, now faces renewed scrutiny. Opposition parties wasted no time demanding accountability. DA and EFF leaders have called for a parliamentary inquiry into any ANC members connected to the Paris case. While international observers say South Africa's credibility is at stake, what's worse for Ramaphosa is the growing public distrust. Social media has exploded with hashtags like #Justicifa and #NCExposed, with millions demanding resignations and full transparency. Even outside South Africa, international analysts are calling this a defining moment for African politics, a test of whether truth and justice can survive political power plays. Witnesses described the courtroom atmosphere as electric, filled with tension and shock. The assassin's defense argued that he was merely a contractor who didn't know the full scale of the job he was hired for. But prosecutors dismantled that argument with one damning piece of evidence: emails showing communication between the killer and a South African middleman weeks before the assassination. The emails traced through encrypted servers contained code names, payment details, and references to the minister's silence. When the evidence was read aloud, gas filled the courtroom. One reporter present at the trial stated, "It felt like the entire room realized at once that this wasn't just about one man's death. It was about an entire system built on fear and secrecy." Now that the assassin has been sentenced, the next phase could be even more devastating. Interpol has confirmed it will continue its probe into the South African finances and political figures linked to the crime. That means more arrests could follow, possibly reaching names once thought untouchable. Legal analysts believe that if South African authorities cooperate, it could trigger the most significant political reckoning in modern ANC history. Meanwhile, citizens are demanding a complete overhaul of government transparency laws, saying enough is enough. For millions of South Africans, this verdict isn't just closure, it's vindication. After years of corruption, scandals, cover-ups, and silenced voices, justice has finally broken through the darkness. But it also raises one haunting question. If one minister could be killed and his murderer protected for so long, how many more secrets lie buried in the shadows of power? The sentencing in Paris has made one thing clear. Truth cannot stay hidden forever. If you followed this story and believe South Africa deserves real justice and transparency, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter, because this story is far from over. New revelations are expected soon, and trust me, the names involved will shock you even more than today's sentencing did.